Welcome to Explorer's Guide Maritime Academy. We're going to go through and do a number of short webinars here on applications. We already have done one on how to fill out your application. What we want to do today is talk about how to get your TWIC card, Transportation Worker Identification Credentials. Everybody who is going to get maritime credentials initially has to pick up your Transportation Worker ID card or your TWIC card. Okay, we went through the various components to an application. And the two I want to talk about today, of course, is how to get your TWIC card, and then we're going to later on talk about how to pay your maritime fees. Transportation Worker Identification Credentials, TWIC, is required for any merchant mariner credentials, as I mentioned. It's designed to help let you enter security zones if required. Otherwise, you must be escorted by personnel through it. Normally, a lot of the people at the 100-ton license or less do not work or enter into these security zones. However, the U.S. Coast Guard National Maritime Center requires us to get a TWIC card as part of our initial background check. In the past, we used to provide them with fingerprint cards, and they would send things to the FBI, and it would take quite a considerable amount of time before we get back our reviews and etc. Now we go through the Transportation Worker ID system, which is set up by Homeland Security on it. Again, it's designed for those needing to access secured areas and maritime facilities. The TWIC conducts a security threat assessment background check to determine if people are eligible and issue the credentials. Now, if you work in secured zones, yes, you need the card to get into those. Certain boats, such as tugboats on a certain size, will require that. Boats that are have over 150 passengers are required to have a security system and plan in place, and many times that requires a crew to show their TWIC cards upon entering the facilities. Again, for most of us, we need it mainly to get our credentials. You have to be a U.S. citizen or a non-U.S. citizen with certain immigration statuses. There's a whole list of these out on the website for TWIC. Which I'll provide the address here in a little bit here. So you got to be a U.S. citizen, a lawful permanent resident, a naturalized citizen, or a non-immigrant alien, asylum, or refugee of legal status. So again, most of us are going to be looking at the U.S. citizen aspect because only U.S. citizens can get a merchant mariner credentials. Most mariners licensed, again, by the Coast Guard require this check. Again, regarding card usage facilities, we've talked about some of those, but your employer is going to basically tell you when you need it, where you need it, after you initially got it for your application. The card is good for 5 years. The cost is $125.25. I think that changes, bounces around a little bit, but that's pretty much where it is on it. I want you to Google in to get going. You want to apply online. You can just walk into one of the centers and get your card. However, they really do ask that you apply online. And again, it works you through to make sure you get all the right documents, because once you show up, and if you don't, you're coming back. So again, if you Google TWIC, you're going to come to their site where it's going to say making a TWIC application. And then you notice at the top it says applying for one, set up your appointment, find a center by you. So when we apply, again, we're going to put in our name. The key thing is your legal name. If it's Bob, it's Bob. If it's Robert, it's not Bob, it's Robert. So you want to make sure it's the same name that you have on your birth certificate, any passports, driver license, they're all the same. If not, you're going to be sent back until you get documents to show why. So our name, our address, gender, birth date, typical things that you would go through. Email addresses. It's very important that you pick a very valid email address, because people are going to be emailing you at certain aspects as we go through the process on it. Now you have to bring in some identification, and here is a list of different types of identification they would accept. Driver's license along with another particular document. Passport, only need a passport. So what you do is select what you want to be taken in, and depending upon what you select, they may ask you to bring in a second form of ID. And normally what people do is they bring in their birth certificate. The key thing with a birth certificate, it cannot be the one issued by the church, by the hospital. It has to be issued by the county. It has to have an official seal on it. If it doesn't, they will not accept it. You may end up having to contact where you were born to get a copy if you don't have a current or valid copy. So you need two forms of ID. This will show you other things that they will accept along with it. The key thing here is a couple key points. Do the names, the first, middle, and last name, are they identical on all your documents? Again, your driver's license, birth certificate, passport, they need to be the same. If they're not, such as a marriage license, you're going to have to bring in your marriage license to show the transition from your given name to your new name. You must also, again, the whole thing with the marriage license. And gentlemen, if you have hyphenated names when you got married, it's the same thing. You have to show that progression so that the documents can be accepted. They're very particular about that. If the answers match, your first and last name, great. If it's acceptable for one document, include your full middle name. Other ones may just have the initial. Again, make sure you got the official documents and the names are correct on them. Now, what we can do here then again is we're going to select the Merchant Mariner credentials and enroll. And as we enroll, we're going to tell them where we were born, city we were born, province, state, we don't have provinces, country. And then we're going to tell them what documents we're going to bring in. In this case, I checked passport. If it's a driver's license, whatever other documents, it will then tell you what other ones you have to have with that. Again, very important to pay attention to this. If you don't have the right documents, they're going to send you back home on it. Now, selecting an appointment location. There are locations all over the country. However, they normally tend to be where there's major bodies of water. And you may end up driving 100 miles, 200 miles to a TWIC center. It's just the way they got them laid out. So here we put in our local email address, our zip code, and did a search. It's going to now ask us for some additional information on us again so that it can match it up to set up that appointment. And then we go to the location center, and here it shows us that we have 4 facilities within 122 miles. So again, as I said, these can be some distance away from where you live. Pick out a center that you plan on going to. Also, please note the times and days that they're open. They are not open 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. Some of you may only open for 2 hours on a particular Thursday or Friday, whatever. These centers are not operated by Homeland Security. They operate by Morphin Trust, which is a contractor. And so they have a government contract to run these facilities. And they, depending upon the economics and the demand, they do open and close sites around the country. In fact, one of the center that we have that's close to us will be closed at the end of the month, and people are going to have to travel at least 80 miles to some of these other sites. Again, here's a list of sites. Select the one that you plan on going to, and you notice off to the right, they will have the date and a time. So you pick the city, you pick the time that you want to be there, and that will confirm it into your reservations on that. So here's going to tell you the date and the time they are expecting you. You show up at that time, bring your documents. It normally only takes about 5 to 10 minutes. They're going to photograph you digitally. They're going to do digital fingerprints. They're going to scan your documents, and they're going to give you a receipt. The key thing here, too, and I really, really want to stress this is very important. You're telling them that it's for a Merchant Mariner credential. 80–90% of these are not mariners. These are truck drivers and longshoremen. people working in security zones. So if you don't tell them it's for a merchant mariner credential, it's going to go into another pot, and it will take a long time to find that, which is going to slow down your receiving your merchant mariner credentials on it. If you just want to find out where a site is, you want to just make your plans accordingly, or you just want to walk in with your documents, which you can do. Again, you can go to the top here and it'll say Application Center. It'll provide you with a list of locations, just like we showed you earlier on them. Now, what you're going to do before we go talk about our fees here, when you get done with your appointment, they are going to give you a receipt. It says that you were in the state, you received your credentials, not your credentials, that you basically came in, applied for them, and paid your fees. That's going to be very helpful in applying for your license, your credentials early. The card can come in anywhere from 6 days to 2 months. So if you want to get your application in so you can get your credentials quicker, then just send in that receipt or a copy of that receipt with your application as proof that you applied for your TWIC card. So that's how we go through the TWIC process. It's not very difficult, but it is a step that you have to go through. Again, my suggestion is that you apply online, you enroll online, and that when you show up for the center, make sure you got the proper documents. And again, I believe they want credit cards for processing them. Normally people don't like, they won't take cash, put it that way. So again, make sure you got the proper fee, the proper documents. Next, we're going to talk about paying your Coast Guard fees. Merchant mariners are required to pay a fee for processing. And what the Coast Guard is asking, the National Maritime Center is asking you, is you pay through Pay.gov. It's a very simple process, and I'll walk you through the steps on it. So initial license, you're applying for your initial captain's license. It's going to run you $100 for an evaluation fee and $45 for them to issue those credentials. It doesn't make any difference what you're applying for or how much you're applying for. So if you're applying for your initial UPV, a master upgrade, assistant towing, auxiliary sail, it's the same fee. So people try to get as much on one processing as they can so they don't have to repay those fees. When you do your renewal, normally it's $95, $55 for evaluation, $45 for issuance, $95 total. Now, these fees do not go to the National Maritime Center or the Coast Guard. They go right into the U.S. Treasury directly. So you have to make sure that you have records of this payment. We'll talk about that here in a moment. So again, you go to Pay.gov. Over on the right, it'll say U.S. Coast Guard Merchant Mariner Credentials. Click on the box. It'll provide you a little bit of information. And again, it's required to receive your credentials, and make sure that you keep a copy of this, of the receipt. And then you get into the form itself. Again, it's your name, address, location, phone number. Again, an email address. Please make sure you got a valid email address that is checked. Now, one of the little things that kind of trip people up is you'll see where it says, what regional exam center are you sending your applications to? It really does not make any difference. They just want one checked. Up here in the upper Midwest, we put down Toledo. Depending upon where you are, you will put it at regional exam center in your area. Where you send it has no bearing on what you put there. Now, you're going to be requesting credentials and issuance as was stated below. So again, here's you put your name in, all the various information, pertinent information. And again, make sure it matches up with your passport, your driver's license, birth certificate, whatever, that everything's consistent on it. And here we selected Toledo. There's 17 regional exam centers. You can just have to pick one of them. Now you're applying for, again, I'm talking about initial captain's license. If you're just applying for a rating, or if you're just applying for a initial credentials just to work on a boat, then you would select one of the other ones, such as. But here we're going to do officer endorsement only. And it's going to be then the next box down. It's going to say, what is it? It's going to be $100 because you're not doing a renewal. You're not doing a raise and grade. So your initial. Now, the next box down is going to say course in lieu of exam. You're not going to regional exam center, therefore you're not going to pay that fee for the actual exams. What you're going to do here is you're paying zero for that because you're taking a course. Now, if you do go to an exam center, yes, you're going to have to indicate what exam it is and pay accordingly. Officer lower level is $95. So for here, you're going to put down in lieu of, and we'll put down zero in it. And it says, I will pay my issuance fee. Do you want to pay it later or now? I suggest paying it now so that you get it. So you can click that $45. And as you notice here over on the right, it tallies it up. So you have $100 evaluation, a zero fee for examination, and then when we click the 45, it will come up with the $45 for issuance. Okay, so here it is, amount paid $145. And if you're going to pay by credit card or by your checking account, select the one. And again, put in all the pertinent information on it. Now, here it's going to ask you, do you want an email confirmation? I'm very strongly say yes. They're going to email you your receipt. So you should print your receipt and email your receipt. That way you have 2 copies of it. Because again, you don't want to go around and start looking, trying to find out where that went, because you're going to have to provide it. Remember, the fees have gone into the U.S. Treasury, and they have no way of finding out if you paid or not, only by providing that receipt. And then, of course, you agree to the payment process. And what you're going to get is a receipt back. Here it says you paid your fees through Pay.gov. It's going to give you a tracking number, a transition number, your address, your name, and the like. Again, you notice at the bottom, $95 evaluation fee, $45 issuance for $140. So again, this is the process. It's pretty straightforward, be it for initial, but even your renewal. When you go into your renewal, you come back to Pay.gov, and you go down there, and it's officers renewal, and then followed by the issuance fee. And again, keep a receipt to attach it to your application. Well, best of luck with this, and we will talk about C-Service on our next one.